Hey everybody, John Pluskina here, and I was taking a walk by the river. This is actually the same location where I shot my video about finding peace without God. That's the bridge where I was standing when I shot that one. But I was walking by the river this morning, and look what I found. It's a millipede. Let me see if I can get my phone. There it is. I can get my phone to focus on it. And how much fun is this, to take a walk by the river in the woods and find a weird bug and let it crawl on you. This would be the kind of stuff that I usually do with my 9-year-old son. Here. Now that we've had a chance to say hello to our little millipede friend, let's let him loose here where he'll be happy. Still working on that with my son. He wants to catch every animal and bring it home and try to make it into a pet. So this is the right thing to do, Saul. Let them go and let them enjoy being wild animals. But, of course we let him keep animals sometimes. But I miss my son a lot, and I used to joke with him that maybe someday we should start a YouTube channel where we walk around and just explore nature and try to find cool animals and stuff. Maybe someday we will get to do that. But I've told you before that I would like to talk about my son more, so I guess I'll tell you a story about kayaking with him. So me and my son, we both love nature. We go on a lot of hikes. He's been camping with the family. I haven't had a chance to take him on a solo camping adventure yet. I was hoping to do that this summer, but the divorce and getting thrown out of my house and stuff, all that got thrown to the wayside. Maybe next year. I hope so. I really do. I've got some court cases that I have to win in order to spend any time with my son again in the future, but I'm going to fight to get there. So the first time that we went kayaking together, it was on a river, of course, much bigger and deeper than this one. I believe it was actually the Conemaugh River Lake, but I could be wrong about that. Off the top of my head, I don't exactly remember, but man, it was a great time. It was terrifying because I'd never been on that long of a kayaking journey before. I'd rented canoes and kayaks and things and gone out on lakes or gone out on little rivers, but this was actually several miles. I think it was like 5 miles. It was a good 4 hours of kayaking with an 8-year-old. And I was a little nervous about it when we got started, and especially, for one thing, I don't know how to navigate on the river. I wasn't sure exactly what to look for. I was actually surprised at how little direction that they gave us at the kayak rental place. They basically just said, float till you see our other sign, and I was watching on my GPS, but they've been running tours on that river for like the last 20 years, and it made me wonder, or longer, and it makes me wonder, before the days of GPS, how would you have ever navigated a river like that? Because I was worried that we would miss our stop and end up half a mile or more away from where we're supposed to take the canoes, and then what the heck were we going to do? But we had more immediate problems because there were parts of the river that were shallow and the boat would run aground. And so me and Saul would have to use the oars to kind of push ourselves forward until we got to a place where the boat would float freely again. And every single time it happened, my son was a little bit nervous about it. Well, at first he was, and then the two of us together, we learned to overcome the challenge of that. And by the time we'd spend an hour or two, we weren't nervous about it anymore. We just accepted it as part of the process. But it was a learning experience with the two of us together, and real good old-fashioned father-son bonding time. And, well, I miss that, and I hope that I'll get to have things like that again soon. So on my blog, I'll put a link in the description when I get home to this too. But on my blog, you can also find a story about when I bought my son a cheap laptop and Windows ran horribly on it because the processor was so slow, and the hard drive was so small. And so we gave up on Windows after experimenting with it for a few weeks, and we ended up installing Linux on it, and my son loved Linux. It ran much better than Windows, and so he got to learn how to use Iceweasel, which is an open source, unbranded version of Firefox. And so at school, my son was one of the few kids who already knew how to use a computer when they started teaching stuff like that. And he is the only 9-year-old that I've met who knows what Linux is and has been involved in the Linux installation process. But that's all I got. I will try to start filming episodes of Seeing Through the Media more regularly. But it's tough. It's like I've said before, I would have thought that without a job and without having to hang out with my family all the time, not that I don't enjoy it, but my son's been taken away, so I have more free time than I used to, but it's not like I'm rushing. It's not like I'm able emotionally to just sit down and dedicate a lot of time to art and to my YouTube channel and current events and politics the way that part of me wants to. And part of it is that it takes a long time to find a job. I have to send out lots of resumes, and most of the companies, of course, don't get back to me at all. And then some of them I have phone screenings, and then the interview process takes a long time. It's hard to find a job, but I'm working on it, and I'll get there. I'm fortunate enough that I have job skills that I've been able to build a pretty good career, and it's unlikely that I'll be unemployed for very long. But I had a really great job, an excellent one, and it takes time. And I miss it, and what are you going to do? Well, I guess we're walking together, huh? But I don't have anything much else to say. So let's see. Let's just go over here. Well, look at this. This is pretty interesting. I suspect this river has been flooding, or has flooded pretty harshly recently, because look at all these plants. Look how they're all kind of knocked over, all in the same direction, all pointing this way. It's the same direction that the river flows. So I'm guessing that in the relatively recent past, this river flooded and the current was really strong, and all of these plants have been bent downward like this. Does the effect of that come across on camera? It looks like somebody just came through here and knocked them all over. But pretty sure it was the flood. I don't think anybody has that kind of time. But it almost looks like the kind of damage that you see to plants in crop circles and stuff. But not really. And it's interesting, sometimes if you want to walk through the woods like a detective, you can see things like that. You'll see signs of natural disasters like floods and fires and tornadoes. But I will save that. The next time I see something cool like that, I'll point it out. Meanwhile, it's a harsh world out there, my friends, so when you can, try to get out in nature. To me, it makes life more bearable, and I'm frustrated with buildings and computers and cars and engines and fixing things and building things and trying to make things work. I come out to places like this and remind myself that nature is this. It's a harsh world out there, my friends, so please, keep thinking.